Right, so if I want to hire a PR agency, maybe I want to get more brand exposure, what would you recommend I actually ask that PR agency?
So if I'm looking for different questions to ask a PR agency, one of the first questions I would be asking is there any contracts? So do I need to sign up to a 1 month, a 3 month, a 6 month, a 12 month contract? If they're forcing me to sign up to a 12 month or a 6 month contract, do you know what? I'd probably run away. Because it's not needed. And they're just trying to tie you in. And it's probably the only reason why they're trying to tie you in legally is because if you didn't like month one, you still have to go through the whole commotion of the next 12 months in working with them. Yeah. So I would want a rolling contract initially. I'd want to see the first job of what they do with regards to whatever PR that they're publishing. Are they good? Do they get a return on investment? Or do I think that it's been good value? Okay, now I will reorder. So I think the biggest part to start with would be, is there any big contracts that they're trying to sign you up to?
Yeah, I think just on top of what you've just said is tracking your KPIs. So you mentioned, obviously, is there an ROI of what they've actually done? Now, an ROI when you're doing PR, it could be mailing list subscribers, it could be actual leads generated, it could be just eyeballs on your brand, it could be a number of things, but just make certain that you actually have that tracking set up in place. And if you've got that KPI in mind, let's say you want 5 million views on your brand, ask that agency, okay, this is what I want to achieve with my brand. How are you going to achieve that? Are you going to do digital PR? Are you going to do billboard ads? Are you going to do TV ads? Are you going to do newspaper? Are you going to do radio ads? So actually figuring out what they're actually going to be spending your money on as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you're touching on all these different types of PR strategies, a lot of advertising agencies and PR agencies will tell you need to do a blended mix of all of it. Yeah. You need to be seen multiple times. Normally, I think it's something like 5 times that you need to see a brand before you actually start to inquire or purchase. So you want to be doing bus stop ads, train advertising, billboard advertising, completely depending on obviously the niche in the industry. But with regards to kind of doing all that, one of the first questions I then would be going down the road of asking is the cost. Yeah. So if I say this is my end goal, now you work me out a plan of how much I need to spend this month. And if they come back and they say it's going to cost £40,000 and I've really only got a £10,000 to £15,000 budget, well, that's just going to be blown out of the water. I'm just going to be like, sorry, I've not got that budget. But at least it might set expectations of being, actually, do you know what? Maybe I'm not ready to actually spend. And at times, a good PR agency will say, you don't yet have the budget. You're going to just go into it half-heartedly and not give enough budget to it, and it's not going to work. And actually, you've got to have respect for some PR agencies that would do that. Do you know what I mean? So, understanding the budgets and what they're saying and how much it would cost and the prices involved is key as well of understanding, with regards to the KPIs and what return on investment that you're going to get.
Yeah, definitely. Another question I would be asking is for case studies, have they got any previous experience in your same industry? Let's say, for example, you're a big fashion brand and you're trying to get, let's say, a couple billboards down in London. Have they got previous experience doing that? If they don't, okay, what's the closest thing that they've got experience in? It might be let's say, a tech company that they've done some digital PR for. And obviously, once you actually see the case studies and the actual numbers, it's okay, they've spent this amount, they've got this amount of eyeballs, they had this many sign-ups to their mailing list, or they had this amount of leads. You can then break it down that way as well to go accordingly with your budget.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the audit and the strategy in place is key because there's so many different avenues that could go down. You mentioned digital PR as being one way, or like you said, traditional marketing. But within PR could be doing SEO, they could be doing PPC, they could be doing Facebook ads. This all forms part of PR as the strategy. So they need to be able to adapt to whatever the industry is. But if you do kind of go with a PR agency that is a jack of all trades and master of none, then it's difficult. So when you're talking about case studies, I want testimonials, I want case studies as well, so that I know that they have been in there and they've done it. Yeah. My brother's a great example that he does a lot of theatre marketing. I couldn't touch fake. I wouldn't know what to do with theatre marketing. But if I needed it as a PR agency, I'd be going to DR5, who's a great theatre marketing company. But if they were selling shoes or products and fashion online, I'd run a mile from them, because it's more about Facebook ads and doing all that, and maybe even Pinterest ads and YouTube ads, where they're mainly radio and TV. So asking those questions to the PR agency is so important to get right, to make certain you are choosing the right PR agency.
Yeah, for sure. And then is there anything else that you think?
For questions, I'd say mainly like the costs, the prices, have they got the experience?
How long they've been doing it?
How long they've been doing it? Are they a reputable company? Case studies, testimonials, not timing into long-term contracts, asking all them questions. I mean, what starts to happen is when you start to ask those questions to a PR agency, one thing starts leading on to another. You then, once they start to respond, you then start to have another question that might pop up. Well, okay, if you're saying that this might be better, have you ever thought of doing this? Yeah. Or if you're saying that we need to get lots of images on Pinterest, have you got a graphic designer? Should we do leaflet drops? There's all these different ways and strategies, but I suppose it's difficult until you know what the client's budget is and what the business owner says, okay, this is the money I've got set aside for this and here's my end goal. Then the PR agency can work out a strategy. Then you've then got to work out, is this good enough for what I need? What
about communications? Are you looking for a dedicated account manager?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's key. And I think that it sounds so minor, but having that account manager be able to speak to, right? And when you've got that account manager, you can just bounce ideas off each other. You can basically turn around and start asking them like, do you not think that this could work? Do you not think that that could work? And sometimes these big PR agencies, you might be dealing with 6 or 7 different people. And some been on holiday for a week and they come back and they don't know where the campaign's up to. And you're just like, sometimes having that dedicated account manager, or it might even be 2, but just having an account management team who they can deal with and bounce ideas from. Another big one then, after the account manager, right, is the reporting. Yeah. So what reporting that you get back, it's key to get that information. How many eyeballs, how many impressions? If you're online, you can track how many clicks, how many inquiries, how many telephone calls, how many emails. Online, I mean, it's hard to do that with regards to like bus stop advertising or train advertising and billboard advertising. But digitally nowadays, you can track all that and making certain if they are running any sort of SEO or PPC that they've got the retargeting pixel and the remarketing pixel, and then they are using Instagram and Facebook. So it's just about trying to leverage all as an holistic marketer, that they're doing everything. But yes, having that reporting, in my opinion, is very important as well to track those KPIs.
Yeah, definitely. So that's been our video on questions to ask a PR agency. Also, another thing to bear in mind as well is some companies, they might not be ready for PR. One thing that I would highly recommend is before tying yourself into any long-term contracts or even hiring a PR agency, go and look for a fractional CMO. Because what you will find with fractional CMO is that they will be able to give you a little bit more guidance. Say, for example, if you're a fashion brand, they might say, well, actually, don't do PR, stick to doing more Facebook ads or double down on Instagram ads or maybe even doing a little bit more of SEO. So they've got that little bit of experience. If you guys do want to hire either myself or James as a fractional CMO, check the link down below or head over to fatrank.com and fill in the contact form.